You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, 5th day of September, 2024, and tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, that's our members-only workshop. So if you've been on the trial, you should have got an email yesterday, today, maybe both, with explicit instructions on how you can become a member. And once you're a member, you'll be able to attend the members-only workshop tonight and every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. You'll also have access to the vault where all of the previous members-only workshops are stored. And boy, there's a ton of them. I don't know how many's in that particular vault, but I think we started the members-only workshop in 2008. Oh, but I'm going to venture to say there's at least 50, 100, whatever, in the vault on Telegram. So anyway, glad you're here, whoever you are, wherever you are. Thanks for joining us. This is our second live broadcast today. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first one is our live training room. That one's private, members only, and those taking their 1-week free trial. If you've not taken your 1-week free trial, just go here to mytradingiq.com. At the very top of the page, you'll see a link. 5-day trial, no credit card required. Just click that link, fill out the registration form, hit submit, and we'll get your desktop set up, get your indicators indicating today, and then your trial will officially start tomorrow. Now, of course, you're thinking, well, tomorrow's Friday. I don't want to get just 1 day. I want to get my 5 days. No worries, you will. Doesn't matter what day of the week or weekend or hour of the day you sign up for the trial. You'll always get 5 consecutive trading days, even if it stretches over a weekend or a holiday. mytradingiq.com. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, the afternoon broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways you can join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com and this time scroll down the page to where it says noon broadcast. Click that link, fill out that 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. In the email, there's a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you'll have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Now, there'll be days when you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And there'll be days when you're busy and can't join live, but want to get caught up later. You can do both via our YouTube channel, which is really easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. You already know the YouTube part, so all you got to remember is CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,600 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. Now, this is really good for those who are new to the world of CFRN. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. And just pick some days at random. Watch a little bit, fast forward a little bit, jump to another day, week, month, year. But what that enables you to do is to actually see how we've evolved over the years. Obviously, the more recent episodes are going to be more relevant to what's happening in the world today and in the markets. But it's a great way to see not only how we've evolved over the years, but how the markets have evolved and the world too. So, youtube.com/CFRN. Our schedule each day: daily devotional, word of prayer, some global and market news, recap of the alerts, Logic 247, and the concierge trade alerts. About 12:50, 50 minutes into the broadcast, Michael will join us, give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. Then we'll go live on the TradingView platform and do some live trading for about 30 minutes. And then I'll wrap things up with our good word for the day. The topic of our current devotion, we started it last week, we're in it all of this week, and it'll continue into next week. God's dream for your life. Our scripture today, Proverbs 28, verse 26, from the Message translation. If you think you know it all, you're a fool for sure. Real survivors learn wisdom from others. Again, Proverbs 28, verse 26. Today, we'll talk about 6 steps for biblical decision making. God gave Moses the dream of leading the children of Israel out of 400 years of slavery. But Moses had to make the decision to confront Pharaoh. God gave Noah the dream of saving the world from the flood, but Noah had to make the decision to build the ark. God gave Abraham the dream of building a new nation, but Abraham had to make the decision to leave everything he had and go out into the unknown. Just like these men, you will never realize God's dream for your life until you come to the stage of decision making and actually step out in faith. Whether it's about your career, marriage, finances, health, or children, there is a simple, workable plan for making biblical decisions that will keep you on track toward pursuing God's dream for your life. Number 1, pray for guidance. Before you do anything else, get God's perspective on the issue. Now, that doesn't mean you do a whole lot of talking. It means you do a whole lot of listening. Proverbs 28:26. A man is a fool to trust himself, but those who use God's wisdom are safe. Number 2, get the facts. There is no contradiction between faith and fact. Find out everything you can before you make a decision. That's called due diligence in the financial markets. Proverbs 13:16 says, all who are prudent act with knowledge. Number 3, ask for advice. Talk to somebody who's made a similar decision and friends who know your weaknesses. Proverbs 24:6, the more good advice you get, the more likely you are to succeed. Number 4, got to count the cost. Every decision has a price tag. It will cost you time, money, energy, reputation, talents, and resources. Proverbs 20:25 says, it is a trap to dedicate something rashly and only later to consider one's vows. When people pressure you to make a decision, it's okay to say, I'll get back to you. It's more important to make a wise decision than a quick decision. Number 5, get ready for problems. In faith, expect the best. Expect God to work in your life, but also prepare for the problems that are part of every decision. Solomon said in Proverbs 22:3, a prudent man foresees the difficulties ahead and prepares for them. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences. And number 6, face your fears. Perfectionism paralyzes potential. God has always used imperfect people in imperfect situations to get his will done. Ecclesiastes 11:4 says, if you wait for perfect conditions, you'll never get anything done. That's true in trading. If you wait for the perfect trade setup, you'll probably be waiting quite some time. You have to trust God and start moving in spite of your problems, fears, and doubts. And there's the call to action. So many of us get paralyzed with our thinking. I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about that. And how long are you going to think about it? Just do something, even if it's wrong. If you fall flat on your face, guess what? That's forward movement. That's progression. Stand up, fall on your face again. You've moved a distance. So don't just sit on your couch and pray and dream and talk to God and listen to God. I mean, those are important things, whether it's on your couch or wherever. But at some point, you got to do something. And if it's wrong, guess what? God's right there with you to correct you, to catch you. And now that you're in motion, he can point you in the right direction. Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you seeking wisdom, beyond our own understanding. Your word tells us that those who trust in their own hearts are foolish, but those who walk in your wisdom are kept safe. Help us to trust in you and not lean on our own understanding, our own limited knowledge. Guide our steps, protect our hearts, and lead us in the path of righteousness, so that we may always honor and glorify you in everything we do. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, Amen. Amen, and happy Thursday. Again, tonight, members only workshop, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern. It used to be 9 p.m. Eastern. Now it's 8 p.m. Eastern. And members, have your questions ready. And again, those who've been on the trial, check your email, get those instructions on how to become a member, and you can be in the members only workshop tonight. All right, we're going to start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. I'll warn you, it's not a pretty picture. Well, for traders, it doesn't. For futures traders anyway, it doesn't matter. We can be long, short, long again, all in the same hour. There's no hassle with that. But we do like to see all four of the major indices the same color. The Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P, the Russell, either all red or all green. Those are the days when you get better follow through on your trades, because all the major indices are in agreement. And the color of the day is definitely red. The Dow is down 455 points. That's over 1%. The NASDAQ is down 24 points. The S&P 500 is down 37 points. And the Russell 2000 is down 18, almost 1%. In the commodity basket, crude oil is up 15 cents, trading $69.35 last. Gold is up $12.40, trading $25.38.20 last. And silver, making a bounce, up 55 cents, trading $29.11 last. That's a gain of almost 2%. And it's a gain of over $2,500 per contract traded. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei fell 390 points, just over 1%. The Shanghai gained 4. The Hang Seng dropped 13. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 27, the DAX down 15, the CAC down 69, and for the CAC, that's almost 1%. Now, I think these markets are pretty quiet due to the fact that we have some big high-impact news coming out tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Our jobs numbers. It was a mixed day in Asia, thanks to the 4 points from the Shanghai. It was a red day for the UK, and it's definitely a red radio Thursday here in the US of A. I should have included this in our prayer earlier, but Father, we pray for all of the children, all of the families at Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia. Father, just give them peace in their hearts, peace in their minds. Everyone, of course, is questioning why. And man doesn't have the answer for them. But Lord, you can speak to them, speak to their hearts, speak to their minds. We ask that you do this in Jesus' name. Amen. So, sure, everybody's aware, but a 14-year-old shooter, 14 years old, killed 4 people, 2 students and 2 teachers, and wounded at least 9 others at Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia. That's just a little northeast of Atlanta, about 50 miles. The attack is the deadliest school shooting in Georgia's history. Now, I grew up in Georgia, deep south, southern Georgia, and in high school, if you walk through the parking lot, most of the guys either had a pickup truck or a car that was jacked up in the back. I know today it's the cool things to jack them up in the front, but everybody had these cars jacked up in the back with big fat tires. But my point is that all the pickup trucks had a gun rack. And most of those gun racks had a gun. And no one was ever shot when I was in high school. Well, there were fist fights in the church yard across the street from school. You could get in trouble for fighting on school property, so you had to go across the street to the church where nobody was present on a weekday afternoon. And guys would duke it out there. I mean, we didn't use sticks, we didn't use chains, we certainly didn't use guns. What's happened to our world? The shooter, a student at the school, was taken into custody alive. Now, that's not how these things typically end, right? Usually, the shooter gets shot or the shooter shoots himself at the end of the shooting spree. Which brings up, I just thought of something. When I said he, I don't think we've ever had a mass shooting done by a female. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I don't recall one. Authorities have not publicly identified a motive, although the Georgia Bureau of Investigation says the shooter will be charged with murder and tried as an adult. The attack began before 10:20 a.m. local time and came after a phone call warning to Appalachia and 4 other schools. Barrow County schools will be closed for the remainder of the week as the investigation continues. Oh, what a senseless tragedy. Now, supposedly, one of the newscasts I heard last night said that this guy had been on the authorities' radar for about a year. So I don't have any more details than that, and I don't know what that really means, but they knew that this child was troubled in some kind of way. President Joe Biden. Did you know we still had a president named Joe Biden? He's preparing to block Japanese-based Nippon Steel's $14.9 billion purchase of U.S. Steel, according to reports yesterday. U.S. Steel shares closed down 17.5% on the news. The Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States is currently evaluating the national security implications of the merger, which was announced last year. The United Steelworkers Union opposes it, maintaining the 123-year-old company, formed by U.S. business icons including Andrew Carnegie and J.P. Morgan, should remain U.S. owned and operated. U.S. Steel CEO said yesterday, if the deal were blocked, the company may have to close plants, lay off thousands of employees, and move the headquarters out of Pittsburgh. He also asserted Nippon's promised $3 billion investment is needed to revitalize U.S. Steel's aging mills. Nippon maintains the company will remain American-run. Yeah. Okay, so we got some shadow puppets showing up to do the day-to-day and make the photocopies and brew the coffee. But steel. When a country goes to war, you need lots and lots of steel. And guess who's got more steel than they can use? China. It's true. They are over-manufacturing. Are they getting ready for war? And if we as Americans are faced with a war, and I pray we aren't, although I don't think we've ever been as close as we are right now, but do you want someone else in charge of your ability, your capacity to manufacture steel and employ American workers? I mean, this is just, and if Nippon, if they can make U.S. steel profitable again, why can't an American investor? There's plenty of Americans out there with money gathering dust, could be put to work to turn this around. If the merger were to go through, the combined company would become the world's third largest steelmaker, with 86 million tons of annual capacity. Let's make a jump to your brain. A brain network was found to be significantly larger in people living with depression than in people without it. This is based on a study released yesterday. The findings suggest the presence of an expanded network could be a risk factor for depression, potentially leading to earlier avenues for diagnosis and treatment for the 20% of U.S. adults affected by the condition. Well, good gracious, half of America is depressed because of the economy. So I don't know where they get that 20% number. Researchers analyzed brain activity scans taken of 141 people with depression and 37 without it. Okay. I don't know why there wasn't a 50-50 split, but the technique known as precision functional mapping revealed the size of the frontostriatal salience network. I'm sure I butchered that. A circuit used for screening external stimuli to be 73% larger than the controls on average. Scientists believe the network's large size displaces room on the brain's cortex, its outer surface, for other network functions. A related analysis of brain scans of children who later developed depression showed the abnormal size of the network remained stable over time, indicating it could be used to identify the condition before the actual symptoms develop. Researchers plan to study whether the larger network stems from genetics or experiences. News. Market news. New data from ADP released today showed the private sector added its fewest jobs in a month since January of 2021, signaling a cooling labor market. ADP's National Employment Report for August showed 99,000 jobs were added in the month, well below economists' estimates for 145,000 and fewer than the 122,000 jobs added in July. The August data marked the fifth straight month payroll additions had slowed from the month prior. Let's get crude. Oil edged higher, arresting a recent nosedive in prices after OPEC reached an agreement to pause its planned crude production increase for 2 months. News that the key coalition members won't go ahead with October's scheduled hike of 180,000 barrels a day initially pushed global benchmark Brent up more than 2%, to top $74 a barrel, while West Texas immediate futures rose above $70 a barrel. Crude has since paired those gains as falling equity prices weakened momentum for risk assets. Crude's recent plunge was exacerbated by trend-following algorithms, which pushed long positioning on oil markets to record lows. With commodity trading advisor positions already at maximum short capacity, market participants see today's rally as catalyzed by those who are buying the dip. Corporate taxes in the news. Former President Donald Trump will go before a group of executives and industry leaders today to make his case that he can bring down prices for Americans by lifting regulations and boosting production of fossil fuels in a potential second term. The GOP presidential nominee is speaking to the Economic Club of New York a day after appearing at a town hall on Fox News, where he argued that his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, would drive large companies away from the U.S. if she wins the election. Trump has floated the idea of chopping the 21% corporate tax rate to 15%, a proposal liked by companies, in addition to no taxes on tips and Social Security. The corporate rate had been 35% when he became president in 2017, and he later signed a bill lowering it. Now, Trump and Harris, the Democratic nominee, want to take the rate in opposite directions, while arguing that each is better than the other for American businesses. It's one of the many ways the two major party nominees have laid out sharply different views on the economy, a critical issue in this year's election. I mean, come on. It doesn't take an economist or a rocket scientist to figure out that lower taxes are going to create new jobs. Entrepreneurs are going to start businesses. Foreign investors are going to be attracted to our country. I mean, the whole thing's nonsense. And unless Trump is reelected, the Trump tax cuts, which we're now enjoying, are going to expire. And that in and of itself is a tax increase. But she really doesn't want to talk about that. Okay. It was only 3 years ago the NFL signed a media rights deal that welcomed Amazon Prime Video into the fold as the exclusive home of Thursday Night Football. At the time, the $13 billion, 11-year deal was viewed as a disruptive force that would forever alter the state of television and the status quo of sports media rights. But more than any other major league, the NFL loves television and its wide distribution. Case in point, within its new media rights deal was news the NFL would return to Disney's ABC network on Monday nights, with the network also airing the Super Bowl in 2027 and 2031, ending what will be a 21-year absence. The league also kept its primary package in place with CBS, Fox, and NBC. Moreover, the Amazon games are still broadcast over the air for free on local networks. Now, one last piece of news. and you should probably Google this because you probably won't understand a lot of it. Some of you in this audience have been around long enough to remember when CFRN first broke the airwaves back in 2005. The reason CFRN came to be at the time was a fight against naked short selling. Now, it's not something I've talked about a lot recently in the past years, going back to 2008, because we all trade futures now. I know some people still trade stocks, but I don't. In 2005, I switched from stocks to futures, but naked short selling. Okay, if you own a stock, you can sell it. If you don't own a stock, you can sell it. But the law says that if you short a stock you don't own, then you have 3 days for your broker to borrow the shares from someone who does own them to cover your position. Otherwise, it's called a naked short, which is illegal. The problem is the DTC, the SEC are all duplicitous in this crime. And the last one to get hit by it is Donald Trump. Yep. In a letter sent to NASDAQ's chief, Devin Nunes outlined concerns about so-called naked short selling activity on the DJT stock and asked that listed brokers disclose their net short positions. DJT appears on NASDAQ's Reg Show threshold list, which is indicative of unlawful trading activity. The letter was published Friday in a Securities and Exchange Commission filing. This is particularly troubling given that naked short selling often entails sophisticated market participants profiting at the expense of retail investors. Naked shorting is a banned form of investing where the shares being bet against are never secured or borrowed. This can artificially distort market supply and incite volatility. Now, a longtime friend of this program, Patrick Byrne, who was the founder and CEO of Overstock.com, because he took Overstock public via Dutch auction, which meant all the big banks and brokerage firms didn't get first dibs on the shares. He wanted to make it available to everybody. Well, they punished him for that decision. There were days that I watched the entire float of Overstock.com trade in a single day. All the outstanding, you look at the volume traded at the end of the day, it's greater than the number of outstanding shares. Well, that's clear evidence of naked short selling. Problem is, as I said, the SEC and the DTC won't step up to the plate because who's doing it? As the article said, sophisticated market participants who know they can do it and get away with it. I've seen so many companies, good companies, driven to zero because of naked short selling. Patrick Byrne fought back, and he had an army of shareholders that fought back. Eventually, he left the company because he didn't want the company to be tainted by his presence any longer. But I urge you, whatever browser you use, Google Trump Media, naked short selling, and don't just take the listings that come up on the first page. Click the news tab, because I'm sharing with you an article that was published just today. Since Trump Media's market debut last month, short selling has been a go-to culprit for the heavy losses DJT has since witnessed, at least among the firm's staunchest supporters. On Friday, the stock climbed as high as 10.4%, with Truth Social users celebrating Nunes' commentary. However, Friday's high is still about 44% below its peak in March. Shares have plummeted heavily on the firm's disappointing fundamentals after it disclosed a $58 million revenue loss last year. So, if you think a company's not going anywhere, they're falling apart, nothing wrong with shorting it, but you got to play by the rules. And so all these plutocrats, all these billionaires who have used lawfare and every other thing possible to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office, they're simply attacking him now on another level. He's lost over $3 billion just recently. And that's a shame, because it's illegal, because our government won't step up and do the right thing. So, if you don't know what naked short selling is, you really should look into it. Okay. We are in week 318 of Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around the clock E-mini alert service. Not just E-minis, also crude and gold and silver and euro and bonds. Over the last 318 weeks, we've issued a total of 17,760 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a very simple process we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, this week, we had a holiday week. Monday was a holiday. So since the markets opened Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 28 alerts. Now, this recap was done this morning at 6:30 a.m. There have been additional alerts issued, so Valerie will update that this afternoon, probably around 5 o'clock Eastern. But at the time of the recap, 28 alerts issued, 9 waiting, of which of the 19 actionable alerts, 1 or 5% would have been stopped out, again based on market structure and that simple process that we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, purpose of the logic alerts is not for you to just trade them so you don't have to learn how to trade. They're a tool to help you learn to read the chart, to understand where you should get in and where you're going to run into an obstacle. It's a very simple process, and if you practice it religiously for a couple weeks, pretty soon you'll be able to look at a 30-minute chart and with a great deal of certainty know what the next high probability move is. Every logic alert has an entry price, an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day, an additional targets, and a final trade to target. On tomorrow's broadcast, I will go through all of the logic alerts one by one from this week. And for those of you who've never seen them up close, you will. Now, 318 weeks is a very long time, but twice as long ago, we created our concierge trade alerts, and they're different. They don't come out around the clock. They're posted shortly after the Globex open each evening. Last night, they came out 20 minutes after the open. Today's the Thursday session, but it began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. So at 6:20, all of our members and trial members had every one of these targets. Okay? And if you're a member or a trial member, you have access to all of this information up here, which helps you understand. The logic alerts are designed to help you read the chart. The CTAs help you understand what you might have missed, maybe what you don't quite yet understand. So let's look at the daily chart of the S&P 500, where we talked about in the live trading room this morning if we would get a bounce here, and we got a little bounce. Okay, we talked yesterday, this bullish cross was lined right up with the lowest fib extension. We hit it. Yesterday I said we didn't quite get to it, and we got a little bounce. So some buyers came in early, but today we definitely hit it. Okay, and we've definitely caught a little bounce. Got red and falling overhead. If we continue sideways or down over the next few days, then we're going to get a bearish cross, just like we had a bullish cross. Whenever you have a bullish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area, it will almost always be good support, at least the first time down. Same is true of a bearish cross. If we had a bearish cross here, and the first time price revisited that area, it was good resistance. Now, why a daily chart? None of us trade a daily chart, right? Well, I'll tell you who does. Institutional traders. They look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way we look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Has to do with account size. They're the ones, because of the size they trade in, who literally move price. You and I, we're just liquidity. Okay? So if you'll make it a part of your daily routine to spend just 2 minutes with the daily chart of whatever you're going to trade, whether it's a futures market, some individual stock, crypto, Forex, ETF, what you're doing is you're literally looking over the shoulder of the deep pockets that actually move price. And so not only can you see what they're up to, but you can also identify major areas of support and resistance. And it's free. If you take advantage of it, it will help you. Just do it. Every day, a couple minutes before you start trading. Get the feel of the market, whatever it is you're going to trade. And then our strategy and our indicators aren't designed to outsmart the institutions with their infinite resources, but they do help you see and understand what the institutions are doing and why and what their goals are. And if you simply do what they're doing long enough to get your goal for the day and have the discipline to then put the mouse away, you'd have a pretty nice life. Here's where we opened last night. The vertical line separates today, Thursday, from Wednesday, from Tuesday. Okay. We had sort of a sideways consolidation day yesterday and really one today. But coming out of the gate last night, we ran up to the BBC, which we expect to be resistance till proven otherwise. And that dropped us right down to the short target to the tick. Now remember, this is a 30-minute candle. 20 minutes into the life of this candle, all of our members, all of our trial members had these targets. So price bounces back to the BBC, consolidates right above it. It's not able to take out this high. That's critical. Before you would start thinking about trading long, you got to take out this high because it's potential resistance, as you can see right there. So price gets below the BBC, get a retracement. That's how markets work. Leg, retracement, and then we get a leg, and it takes us right down to the short target again. This time we bounce up to that resistance from yesterday. That sends us back to the BBC support. Then we put in a lower high, and selling pressure comes in and takes us right back to that short target again. When the market finds support, it's going to go look for resistance. We spiked the long target just a little bit, but resistance has now sent the market looking for support. We've traded below the BBC. Market has found support here. If you look left, you'll find out why. We've now bounced back up to the step line, which is potential resistance. Red and falling is potential resistance. And of course, the BBC. The pullback holds more often than not. BBC just stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and anticipate lower prices. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and anticipate higher prices. BBC, bull bear cross. So, wait for the market to find its resistance. It could be here. Okay? If it is here, then you've got a window of opportunity right here. What is that? We'll call it 97 to 95. Okay? And we're starting to print a little bit of a red candle there. It's a very conservative window of opportunity. 99. It's actually 99 down to 95. Really? Is that right? Yeah. Well, we'll call it 98. How about that? 98 down to 94. So that's 4 points. Okay? That's a conservative window of opportunity. First price has to take out the low of the current candle. Once it does that, it has overcome support. So what's it going to do? It's going to go look for the next area of support. And where does the chart tell us that is? At 54.90. Okay? So you could get more than 4 points out of this. It could trade right through this window down to this low, and it could even take out this low. This is the lowest weekly zone this week for the ES. On the Dow, here's where we opened last night. Market attempted higher. Got right up to this high from yesterday afternoon. Dropped. Found support briefly at blue and climbing. And then dropped. Right to the target. Almost to the tick. What's the low of that candle? 963. Yeah, so 3 ticks. 3 points. You missed it by. Support sends the market to resistance at the weekly zone. Resistance sends us back to the BBC, but we trade through it because we got red and falling overhead. Buyers decided to pick up the ball right here at this low, 49.75, and that drove us all the way up to the zone. Now remember, the zone was resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, but the second time we got through and made the run all the way to the long target. Resistance sends us back to support at the BBC. Support sends us to resistance at the zone. The zone's 41.085/90. Back to the BBC, back to the target, back to the BBC, back to the target. And then the fireworks came off the 9:30 open on Wall Street, all the way down to the short target, and we spiked it down to these lows from yesterday. Support sends us to resistance, BBC, red and falling, and that sends us back down to the short target, through the short target, and pretty close to the lowest weekly trading zone. Now this low here, go look left, take a walk back in history, you'll find the reason for this support. So the answer is always in the chart. All right, we'll pick up with the Russell when I come back and finish this recap. Michael's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room. And then we'll do some live trading on the TradingView platform. After that, I'll come back and finish the recap, good word for the day, and call it a day.
And it is Thursday. Speaking of days.
Yep. Members Workshop. I've already mentioned it a couple times, but
good.
Mention it again.
Excellent.
8 p.m. Eastern. Have your questions ready, guys. All right. Looks good. Great.
Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday. Thursday, the 5th day of September 2024. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right here. That is what you need to click on to sign up for the free trial. There's no credit card required for the trial. When you click on that, it will bring you to this page. It's loading up right now. It'll bring you to this page where all we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. Down here, you got 5 multiple choice questions. Fill those out, honestly, please. And if you have Ninja Trader, it gives you Ninja ID. If you have TradingView, it gives you TradingView login ID, right? Hit register. When you hit that, if you fill this in, we'll be able to enable the indicators for you. So you have your indicators indicating on your desktop at the beginning of your trial. That is the most opportune way to take advantage of everything that you get for free with the trial. All right, so the spreadsheet. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, as I said, is the 5th day of September 2024. We are 238 ticks on the NQ, 6 ticks on the Russell, minus 25 on the YM, and plus 4 on the ES. That put us at plus $1,145 this morning. That is with one contract on. So, you know, the numbers, you can see when we started last week with the simpler setup, the numbers are very good, consistently very good. So if you haven't taken a trial with that, if you don't have access to that, you may want to consider getting access to it. Anyway, this morning it took 13 minutes and 4 trades to get to the goal for it. At that point, we're up $2,610, and we took a total of 26 trades this morning. There were a ton of trades, and I didn't get near all of them. You'll see in a few minutes. If you were to, on the year, we're at $73,700 or 166 business days, averaging $443 per contract per 2-hour business day. If you were to follow the 24/20 blueprint and add 1 contract per month, so far this year, you would have only had to work 51.31 hours, and you would have been averaging right now, you'd be averaging $2,116 per hour. Okay, now those of you guys that have been following for a year and a half, you know that I finished the 24/20 blueprint and we averaged $7,448 an hour. That's what we ended with. Almost $7,500 an hour. Anyway, if you started this year, 2,100, which is a great number. All right, so let's get into the actual trades. I believe it's this one over here. Okay, just close those. And we'll come in here. This is the YM. Yes, so we had on the YM today, we ended up with minus 25. So we had some decent trades that I should have got a little more on. Every one of these break-even trades gave at least 10 ticks. All right, this one right here was my first one. I ended up with 10. Well, I had 10 ticks and moved the stop to break even, and it took me out. It did go down and do the full 40 ticks, it looks like, because this is a 19 range bar. So every bar is just about 20 ticks. So it's about 2 bar lengths is what the target was at. This one here, we just stopped out, minus 25. Had another 10 ticks on this one, another 10 ticks on this one. But I got break even on both of those. And that was it. During the break, there were some decent trades right here. We can see all the lines on ribbon. You pull out of the overbought right there. Good trade. Right here. Good trade. Right here. Good trade. This one, I don't know that I would have done this because it turned blue. I don't know that I would have. If I did, it may have stopped me out to the tick. It may have gone just enough to get the stop to break even. But since then, we haven't gotten into the oversold yet. It's getting there right now, though. The ribbon is nice and spread. This is a pullback against the bigger downtrend. But the ribbon is nice and spread, and we'll see if it gives a long trade. It's possible that it will, and I'll be ready to take it if it does. Okay. All right. So that was the one that we ended negative on, was the YM. The Russell, we didn't trade too much on the Russell. We had a couple of positive trades and a couple of break-even trades, and that was it. So if you start right here, this was our first trade. Right here, we ended up with a break-even on that one. Then it flipped around and it didn't get into the overbought. When it did get into the overbought, finally over here, we got into the overbought and it came out. The ribbon was crunched up. We got into the oversold right here. There was a trade right here we took, and we got a break-even on. Right here, I gave another one right here, and we picked up 1 tick profit on that one. All right, it didn't put it in a lower swing, so we weren't looking for anything else in that direction until over here after we did get a nice lower swing. And on this one, we picked up 5 ticks to get us to +6, and that did not put it in a lower swing. Okay, so we weren't looking for anything right here. And then finally, during the break, or right before the break, it looks like it gave another opportunity right here that I didn't get, which was a very nice trade right there that I didn't get. And then it looks like it gave one more right here going down into the zone. Now it was good enough to stay in the trade if you had your stop. If you had your stop in the right place, 25 ticks away, you would have been able to stay in this trade for the move down. Since then, it's turned up and it gave one trade right here. I don't know if that went 10 ticks into profit. It doesn't look like it did. 37.1 up to 38.1, exactly 10 ticks in profit. That would have been really close, probably a stop out. That's where it brings us now. So on the Russell, we ended up with just +6 ticks. All right, now on the ES, go back to the very beginning. On the ES, this is on the 7 range. Okay, I just want to make sure because I know we looked at the 4 range on some things today, on silver and things. All right, so our first trade on the ES was right here. We picked up 4 ticks on that. Our next trade was over here. We picked up 8 ticks on that to get us to +12. We had a break even, another break even, and then we stopped out on this one. This one, I made it orange because I should have had my stop at break even, but I messed that one up. I did stop out on it -10 ticks. That put us down to 2. And then over here, I had a break even there, and there was another trade. Here it is over here that I ended up taking some profit on. Back 2 more ticks. I just got to +4 on that. Now there were some other trades in here that I didn't get right through here. We had to put it in a lower swing after this one, and then you would have had, it looks like a trade right here that didn't work out. One right here that did put in a lower swing, one right here that did, one right here that did. So I missed all of those. And one right here that worked out. I missed that. One right here worked out. I missed that. Oh, I actually got that. Sorry, I got that one. What did I get on that? 2 ticks. And then that gets us into the break. Now during the break, there was one here that worked out fine, 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 one here that worked out fine. That's all during the break, right there, in about a 10-minute period. Trade after trade after trade after trade. Every one of those was enough to get the goal for the day. I think. I'm pretty sure every one of those was enough to get the goal for the day. And then it got sideways. The ribbon was all crunched up. You had nothing to do in there. Another long trade right here. That was enough to get the stop to break even, take 4 or 5 ticks in profit. This right here is arguable whether it came out of the overbought or not. You can just skip that one, go over here where it's easy and obvious. This one here was just enough to get the stop to break even. It did not put in a higher swing, so you would not have taken anything else along this way here. This did put in just a little bit higher swing, so you might have taken that if you had a trade, but we didn't. And that was it. That was it on the ES. We ended up with +4 on the ES. Now the NQ, where we had the majority of the trades, is going to have the most opportunity in here on the NQ. I wanted to come out here and open up the YouTube thing too. I have this. Let me go to this one here. Go to
no questions yet.
Okay, I just want to open it up so I have it ready because
if you're tuned in on YouTube, if you have any questions, just type them in.
Type them in there.
Our strategy and indicators are fluid across all markets, futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs. Doesn't matter. Price flow is the same. So
it does.
Whatever you trim, maybe you look and you go, oh, well, they're just doing futures. No, what we do, what we provide, from the training to the indicators to the strategy itself, stocks, Forex, crypto, futures, it's all the same.
Everything works.
Everything.
Everything.
Whether you're a scalper, a day trader, a swing trader, or an investor, again, it will work the same. Okay, back to you.
Okay. I had to scroll back anyway here. All right, so our first trade here on the NQ was this one. We picked up 48 ticks on the very first trade, and then we stopped right after that, right here. Put us back down to 12. Then picked up another 48 there that goes to 60. Then the break even there. I don't know the break even on that, but another 48 there got us to 108. And we had a smaller trade somewhere. We had a break even, a break even, a break even. Then a smaller trade where we got we went from 108 up to 120. So we had a smaller trade. I think there's one missing in here somewhere. We had a smaller trade. We went from 108 to 120, and then went from 120 to 168. So I think I got 48 on that one, and then I screwed this one up. I ended up losing 12 ticks on that. It looks like something like that. I ended 168, 10 ticks. I went from 168 down to 158 on that. I had my stop. I ended up going the wrong direction. It triggered a trailing stop that it shouldn't have triggered. Anyway, so we're at 158 after this mess up right here. And then we went to 206 after this 48 tick win right there. And then we had a break even on that one right there. And we went from 206 to 214. So we had a small win on that one. And then we had 214 to 238. So we had a small win on the last two of these were small wins. There were a ton of trades in there that I didn't get, right? There were a ton of trades that I didn't get. But if we just go through the break right here during the break, there was a trade right here, a good 48 tick trade there. That's if you have your target set at 48 ticks, okay? There's one right there that was good. Then the ribbon got all crunched up, so you really didn't have anything going through here. Even right here, it didn't come out of the overbought, so there's nothing there. Going down into the zone here, you're probably going to skip that one. Take that, 48. Over here, this was a rough one. I probably wouldn't have gotten all of 48. I would have gotten a break even on that, more than likely, and not done another trade until we got a higher swing. Then right here, this probably would have been another break even trade. You get a higher swing. I would have done nothing through there. This short right here would have been some kind of profit. It's 31 tick bars. I don't know that it went to full 48, but I would have gotten something out of that. Same thing with this one right here going in the other direction. Yeah, that's like a 20 tick trade right there, 28 tick trade, something like that right there. And that brings us to where we are right now. We need a down close of this bar. The high of this bar is 25.75. Subtract 8 points from that. Can bring you to 17.75. Okay. And that's as simple as it is right there. The high of the bar is at 25.75. Subtract 8. Bang, right there. All right. So when, as long as I did the math right, and it really is 25.75, it's actually 25.50. So subtract 8 from there. There now, I'm just looking over here. You see the high right there. So it went up to, now it just got blue, so you're not gonna have a trade. But that was all that you had to do to get ready for the trade, is just put it on like that. All right, get ready for the trade and just take the trade. There was a trade over here on the YM. Everything turned back to blue. And if I spread this out, I think you can see all 4 lines in the ribbon. So there was a trade there on the YM that I didn't get. Over here on the ES, the down close is going to be okay. I think it's going to high at 505. So it'd be some 503. 503. And it just triggered me in. There it is. Triggered me in at 275. It gave me 1 tick a slip. So my stop should be 10 ticks away. There it is. 10 ticks away. It should get down to right here. That was part of today's lesson plan, reading the DOM. All right, it should get down to right here, 55.01. At a minimum, it should get down to there. We'll see what it does do though. All right, bump stop to break even after 4 ticks in profit. Over here on the NQ now. You can see that right here, if you spread this out, spread it out like that, everything was red and you can see all 4 lines. So that is a trade over there on the NQ. Here that is. All right, so we're short the NQ, the stop's at break even. We don't have the stop break even yet on the ES. Now the NQ stop goes to break even after 16 ticks in profit, we'll say 4 points in profit. 15 really, but 4 is easy to do. So we're looking for the NQ to get down below the prior swing low. All right, just gave us a break even, but we'll look for it to get down below the prior swing low anyway to continue the trend. And looking for the ES to do the same thing. Down to the prior swing low would be good on the ES. Right. These other two markets, the YM did have a trade here, but I didn't get it. It needs to put in a higher swing now. Okay. So if you are just seeing this stuff for the first time, since I really broke this out, we just stopped out on these. I really broke this out last week where I got rid of everything else that we used to have on the charts, and we just got down to the ribbon and the trigger. The ribbon and the trigger. The only time you're going to see the trigger, unless you're a passport guy, the only time you're going to see the trigger is in here or in the morning session. Okay. The trigger is only on TradingView. So if you don't have TradingView, you can get the free version of TradingView. Let me just show you. If you go here to my tradingiq.com, click on trading platforms, then click right here, click there. If you're not logged in, if I log out of this, I'll show you. Let me just sign out of this for a second. Right here, get the free version of TradingView right here. Just click on that. You get the free version of TradingView, and once you get it, you have to get data. If you're going to trade futures, you have to get real-time data. Okay, so that's all you have to do. It's really simple. To use what we're using right now, you have to use the trigger part of it anyway. You have to be passport. If you have the free version, that'll be enough, but you're gonna have delayed data. You're gonna have to get your own data. The data's $7 a month, so that's what it takes to really see if it's gonna work for you. Honestly, we've never had anything this easy to do. Been building up to this for almost 20 years. It's been building up to this. And now, I present to you the simplest trade setup ever. All right, so we're just waiting here. The ribbon's not spread. The ribbon's not spread.
Less
yes.
really can be more.
Yes, it is. Less really can be more. And larger time frames where everything's nice and slow, and it just gives a ton of opportunities. Even in the larger time frames, you still get a ton of opportunities. Right? If you haven't taken a trial with us and you want to, go here to, where is it? Right here. Go to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on the purple button, sign up for the trial. Okay. I'm going to close this one. This is the one we're working with over here. If you click on the purple button, sign up for the trial, you can get it. If you are in mentoring and you want to upgrade to passport so you have access to this all the time and not just in the room in the morning in this half an hour right here, just send us an email, support@cfrn.net or support@mytradingiq.com. Or you can text me at 617-943-3298. Just tell me you want an upgrade. If you don't have TradingView yet and you want to just get the free version of TradingView, but you need a little help with that, let me know. I'm likely to do a meeting here in 16 minutes with a guy who has just that issue. I don't know if he's in here right now. No, he's not in here right now. But if that person is you, you don't have TradingView, but you want to get it, just take a look. Yep, I am going to be doing that in 16 minutes. Yeah, let's say 135. But what I'm going to do for him, at 130 is just set him up with the free version, because he doesn't have it yet. Set him up with the free version, show him how to get the data, and in 10 minutes time, it'll be set up, and he'll actually have all this running on his charts temporarily. All right. He is a mentoring partner who needs to upgrade, and so I'm happy to do that for anybody else that needs to upgrade. Okay. over here right now on YM, we're pulling back down to test the ribbon. We need to get a higher swing on that, right? It needs to give us a higher swing. This didn't put in a higher swing. This didn't put in a higher swing. This, in the bigger picture, didn't put in a higher swing. It was looking at a shorting opportunity, but it didn't put in a higher swing. Now, it never gave the shorting opportunity here. So wherever this ends up being is going to be the low that we can work off of, or we can call this the low. You know, it doesn't have to exceed this swing low right here, is what I'm saying. Because we never got a shorting opportunity from it. If it spreads out enough, and it's almost spread out enough. Actually, we stopped out on this, didn't we? Yeah, we did. I'm sorry, we stopped out on that, so it does have to exceed this swing low. Huh. Put that on there so I don't forget about that. We stopped out right there. I did not go this. There. We stopped out there. So then it does have to exceed the swing low to give us another trade. All right. Let me go and create that other meeting while we're waiting for a trade. On the NQ, it does have to put in a lower swing here. We did take the shorting opportunity a few minutes ago. Didn't we take a shorting opportunity a few minutes ago? Right in here. Yeah, and we got to break even on it. This is just barely a lower swing here on the ES. We're looking for a shorter, a lower swing over here, right? We just got it on both. So we have trade setting up on both of them right now. On both of them. All right. I butchered his name. Neither one of those are in the overbought right now, so they're not actually going to give us a trade yet. Okay. All right. Now we're in the overbought, so we need the down close here on the NQ. It's got a high here of 14.25, so subtract 8. That would be 6.25. Right, 8 points below the top of the bar. Now that top just got a little bit higher. Subtract 8 from that, that'd be 750. 750. Here, I'll bring my DOM over so you can watch it. Okay, so this is what you have to do. Top of the bar is up here, right there at 1550. Subtract 8. Okay, so now it's a little bit higher. It's going a lot higher, and now it just changed. So I'm not gonna have a trade. Okay, I'll slide that over. The ES could give us a trade here. The ES has got a high here of 503. Subtract 2 from that. So you'll be looking at 501 on the ES. 501 on the ES. This could trigger into a trade here on the NQ if it turns back to red on the down close, or if it turns back to red. It can't go up much higher though. If this bar closes up, there's not going to be a trade here on the NQ. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen on the NQ. Possibly not on the ES either. 375 down to 175 on the ES now. Okay. And there, the ES is a cancel. And the NQ is nothing. The Russell is nothing. The YM is nothing. All right, so nothing there, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. It's 1:20. We have 10 minutes left. 10 minutes. don't see any questions anywhere right now, so we're just waiting. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to show you something we looked at this morning. A couple things we looked at this morning. We looked at it yesterday briefly, but we didn't look at silver yesterday. Silver had a big move this morning, and I just wanted to look at that with you. Just look at SI1 and just show you that what we are doing. Now, silver is 25 bucks a tick, we determined. Probably don't want to do it on a 7 range. You can do it on a 4 range. You can even do it on a smaller time frame. You go down to a 3 range. That way your stop is going to be like, 4 ticks. So it'll be $100 stop. And you have lots of opportunities on a 3 range. All right. So the ribbon's got to be spread. You have to come out of the overbought. There's one. Ribbon's not spread. It is spread here. It's going to be spread. You come out of the oversold in this case. There's one. And spread it out so you can see a little better. It's going to be spread. You come out of the overbought. There's one. It's not really spread right there. That's all in the last little bit. But if you go back here and you look at how the day progressed, I haven't really looked at it on the 3 range, but we can see right here coming out of the overbought on the 3 range, it's 25 bucks a tick. So every one of these bars is 75 bucks. Okay. And that is a big move up right there. Going out of the oversold right there. Pretty good. Out of the oversold right there. Good. Out of the oversold right there. You'd have to bump your stop to break even after you get a couple of ticks in it. Or just take profit when you get a couple of ticks. Remember, we're just trying to get the goal for the day. All right? This is several times right there. You could have gotten the goal. Right here, again. You just go when the ribbon is spread. Ribbon is spread, you're coming out of the oversold. Look at that right there. Bam. Bam. How many times is that getting your goal? And again, and again, and again. The ribbon's all crunched up right here right now, so you can't really do anything with it. But that was silver. Let's look at gold. I'm going to look at gold on a little bit larger time frame than that. But you can see the gold should be on the 7 range. And I'm looking at the wrong gold. Hang on. I need to be looking at this one. There we go. So we got the gold on the 7 range right here. And again, you're looking for it coming out of the oversold or out of the overbought. We just about have one right here where the ribbon is spread and it needs to come out of the oversold. So if I was trading gold right now, I'm not. But if I was trading gold, I'd have a buy stop limit 8 ticks above the bottom of this bar at 42.7 is where I'd have a buy stop limit. 42.7. Looking back here, there was a nice trade right there where it came out. Right here was enough to get the stop to break even. Right over here was a nice trade. Right here, that one would have stopped you out. Right here was a good trade. Right there was a good trade. Right there was a good trade. Right there was a good trade. Again, you're just trying to get the goal for the day. Right? This is giving you trade after trade after trade after trade. You can get the goal for the day. Every day. With this, it should not be an issue. Getting the goal for the day should be just an easy thing. Get in there, get it, and get done. All right. That was gold. We're looking for this to close up. I was kind of looking to see if we're going to get another trade set up here on the NQ. But you see how the ribbon's all crunched up there, there, and there. And I think it probably is on the ES too. All right. I don't see any questions coming in yet. Nothing yet. So there's the up close on the gold. So if you had your buy stop limit at 42.7, what I just said, you would be in this trade right now and you'd be taking profit on it. Okay, where should it go? It should go above the prior swing high. And there it goes. There's 11 ticks in profit you would have had just there. I don't have my DOM. I don't have a gold DOM open, or I would have taken that trade. 11 ticks in profit, just like that. Bam. Now this has gotten up into the overbought, so it's time for it to pull back when it gets up into the overbought. Right? So it went up even further. From 0.7, 2.7, it ran up to 4.4, almost 20 ticks. 17 ticks. $170 contract. Bam. Goal for the day times 1.7. What market do you guys want to look at? These are all going sideways right here, except for the gold. Look at the crude.
Punch in DJT.
DJT?
Yep.
Trump?
Yep.
Okay.
They've tried every way
Dallas.
possible to take him down, and so now the naked short sellers. All it takes is a couple of institutions that lean left to go, you know what? Let's just short this thing into oblivion. Because the SEC and the DTTC, they're not doing their job, as they haven't done for the past 20 years. If you sell a stock you don't own, then your broker has to borrow that stock from someone who does own it to cover the position. Otherwise, it's a naked short. And it's been going on forever. And it's a rich man's game. So it's disgusting. Just disgusting. This drop has cost Trump about $3 billion. His shares have been locked up. They're just about to be unlocked. So they swarm him and try to break him. No. It was unrealized gains anyway. Yeah. But you know, the new thing is now they want to tax unrealized capital gains.
Yeah. But can you write off unrealized capital losses? Why not? If they're gonna bill you for unrealized gains, why can't you write off unrealized losses? You'd think it'd work the same way, wouldn't you?
Well, what happens when you pay taxes on unrealized capital gains, and then that stock goes to zero?
Yeah.
You never realized a dime, but yet you had to pay taxes on money that you never had. I mean, it's
ridiculous.
That's what happens when you put Barbie and Tim in the White House. But anyway,
Barbie and Ken, or Barbie and Tim. I guess. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stoop to the level of calling him Tampon Tim on this program. What does he expect? What does he expect those 8-year-old boys to do with those things? Those fourth graders. He wants them to have access to feminine hygiene products in their bathroom. He's really strong on this. Where are they supposed to put it? What are they supposed to do with it? It's. I don't think the world has ever seen this kind of insanity, ever, in history.
No, this is a new level.
This is beyond Old Testament craziness, like Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's frustrating.
Where do you stand on that?
Well, go to the poll and vote. Go to the poll and vote. Yeah. Well, come on. Really? I'm going to go. It would be un-American not to go and cast my vote. But do I have any confidence that my vote actually counts today? That ship sailed the last election. So, anyway, it's not a political show.
Anyway. All right. Well, let me just say this. If you have not taken a free trial with us, and you want to take a free trial with us, because I got a meeting coming up right after this.
Okay.
If you want to take a free trial with us and you haven't, go here to mytradingiq.com. Here's the purple button right here. Right, click on that purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page, where all that we ask for is your first name, your last name, your email, your phone number, 5 multiple choice questions, and there's a place to put in your NinjaTrader machine ID if you have it. And if you don't, it's no big deal. We recommend you get TradingView. Get a TradingView login ID, right? Login ID or username. Whatever it is that comes up when you hover over this thing. Like I'm logged into CFRN, whatever you're logged in as, that's what we need, okay? Give us that, and we will get you set up, get your indicators indicating, and you can have the free version. You got to pay for the data, but you can have the free version of TradingView if you want to. You don't have to pay any more than $7 a month to be able to use TradingView to the degree that we use it in here. Okay. All right. That is it. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, looks like you are ready.
Yep. Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 13 minutes and 4 trades to get to $2,610. $2,610.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, we'll pick up where we left off with the Russell. All right, here's where we opened last night. Ran up to the BBC, blue and climbing, walked us up there. But remember, the pullback holds more often than not, and it held. And so that took us back down to these lows here, which were basically these lows from yesterday afternoon. And we spent most of the overnight session till the London Open. Right here's the London Open. That pushed us up above the BBC. So we had a leg, retracement, pullback held, leg and retracement, pullback held, leg, and this retracement did not hold. But when we pulled up from below, it held. We spiked it. Huge. But it still held by the time the 30-minute candle closed. And then the following 30-minute candle, we hit the target and we hit the weekly trading zone, 2128/29 on the NQ. Now this is the lowest weekly trading zone for the NQ. Look how many times we bounced off of it yesterday. Remember, these are 30-minute candles. We kept trying and trying and trying to break below it. This is where last night's session opened and dropped right to the short target and spiked it. Market found support, bounced us back up to the BBC, but we were not able to take out this high. That's a sign of weakness, so back we go down to the short target. We find some support, takes us up to the BBC, back down to support. This time we get above the BBC, but if you look left, we're not able to take out these highs, which we're not able to take out this high. So down we go again. Hit the short target, bounce up to the BBC, hit the short target again, hit the zone. Support at the zone sends us all the way up to and above the long target. Failed to take out that high right there. Okay. See that? Okay. So that's a sign of weakness. A high followed by a lower high. And that took us all the way back down to the zone again. And we bounced up to the BBC and red and falling, and the market looks like it wants to come down and test the zone again. Remember, we got some big economic news tomorrow morning, 8:30. Non-farm payrolls, the other job numbers, and how they come in is how they come in. We don't really put any stock in them, but some people still do. So that's why we don't trade the news. Wait for the news to come out, wait for the market to absorb it, react to it, and then when the market resumes its normal rhythm, that's when you want to dance. So we opened here last night, ran up to the BBC, found resistance, and then we just consolidated along the BBC. And then we finally made a run up. Where to? Previous bearish cross, right there. You have a bearish cross that leads to an extended move. The first time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance, and that's a picture perfect example. Resistance sends the market looking for support. Pull back to the BBC holds more often than not. So we get a leg, a retracement, but the pullback held because even though we spiked it by the time the 30-minute candle closed, we're back above the BBC, back above blue and climbing, and then the next candle took us right up to the long target. And then we got a retracement, and the next candle. See, that's You understand that's always how price moves. Get a leg, retracement, leg, retracement. And here the market changed direction because we closed below the BBC. This retracement held, took us lower. But this high here, see this high here? 70.77, this high, 70.82. So we're talking 4 ticks difference, okay? 77 here, 82 here, 4 ticks. So we took out that high by 4 ticks, but only 4 ticks, okay? That's a sign of weakness. Anytime we put in a new high or low of just a little bit, and 4 ticks is definitely a little bit, we're very suspicious. It's often an indication that the market's going to run in the other direction, which, as you can see, it has done. Get below the BBC, and then we come right down into these lows from yesterday. Got red and falling overhead. We're about to get a bearish cross, and that should probably be enough to take us down to the short target. Gold, here's where we opened last night. Just creeping along the weekly zone, the BBC. Now this candle here, you only need a $1 move in gold to get your goal for the day. This candle opened at 25.2 and ran up to 29.6. So you could have waited for price to clear these little highs here. Then price pulls back to the BBC and the zone. Okay, pull back held. So we get a leg and a retracement and a leg. And then the step line crosses blue and climbing. That tells us to expect to pull back to the BBC, which we got. However, this candle here was determined to touch that zone at 52/53, and it did. And that resistance sent us right back to support at this zone, 38.39, where we consolidated for a bit. Now we've gotten above the BBC, and from 25.46 to 25.48, that's a nice $200 per contract window of opportunity. 25, you could probably go 25. No, just make it, be conservative. 46 to 48. Very conservative up there. Okay. Well, what if it doesn't go higher? Okay, then that means it's going to drop. So then your trade is going to be 33 to 31. It's $200 per contract traded. Silver, big mover today. We opened last night right at weekly zone. Ran right up to the long target. Resistance. Sent us back looking for support, which we found at the BBC and the zone as support times 2. Support sends us to resistance, which sends us back to support, which sends us to resistance. And we get a little retracement, and then we get a run all the way up to the zone. Now when the price of silver moves $1, 28.54 to 29.54, that is a $5,000 per contract. Price is now retraced back to the BVC. Got red and falling overhead. So price has to overcome the step line, and it has to overcome red and falling. And then there's a window of opportunity up here. In fact, I think there's a logic alert from, I think, 37 up to 41. That's if we get our bounce here. If we don't get our bounce, if red and falling takes us below the BBC, then your trade would be 28.92 down to 28.86. That would be 6 pennies. That would be $300 per contract traded. Only takes 2 pennies in silver to get your goal for the day. And there is a micro silver, but we took a look at it this morning in the live trading room. Last is the euro. We opened at a zone, resistance, dropped to the BBC, support, and we had that perfect stack. Price, step line, balloon climbing, BBC, ran right over the target. Got a retracement. Price held at balloon climbing. So we get a leg, a retracement, and a leg. Now these are the zones that were published Tuesday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Normally they're published on Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Published the zones since December 14th of 2009, every week. Once they're published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. And so here we are on a Thursday, and they're still doing their job. Resistance to support. Now price is trying to get back up to the zone. Price is always trying to get to a weekly trading zone. If price is above the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone overhead. If price is below the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone below. Right here we got above it, so we ran to the zone overhead. Spiked it, but closed well below it. And then found support at the zone. And we'll take one last look at the daily. We caught a pretty good bounce off this area right here. Low 54.90. Right now we're roughly at 55.12. No, we're at more like 55.16. High of this candle, 55.16 and a quarter. So bullish cross. First time price comes down, we expect it to be support. It was. Gave us a little bounce. Question is, will we take this out today, or will it be tomorrow? The way the market's positioned, looks like we're heading, now that we've found support here and bounced, as soon as we take out the low of today, then our next stop is down here at the 38% fib extension. We got this low right here from August 15th, which is 54.7175. Then the 38% fib extension, 54.53. That's a big deal. Remember, institutional traders look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts. We look at the smaller time frames. And yes, they've got fibs on their chart. And so when price gets to the 38, is it a self-fulfilling prophecy? Is it because everybody expects it to bounce that it bounces? Well, look here when we hit the 24. We hit the 24. We didn't quite touch the BBC on that move. There's a little gap in there, just very tiny. But we hit the 24% fib and bang, pushed us all the way up to the 50% fib extension. So now we've hit this bullish cross, caught a very nice bounce. Will it be enough to reverse the markets? I don't think so. Now, it's possible if the job numbers are... But then you got to ask yourself, what are good jobs numbers? Okay? If the job numbers come in tomorrow, quote unquote, bad, then that's just more fuel on the fire for the Fed to lower the interest rate, possibly a half a point as opposed to just a quarter point. He's promised us a quarter point. There's so much talk of, oh, it could be a half a point. Well, maybe it will, maybe it won't. So good job news tomorrow means we only get a quarter point decrease. But if we have bad job numbers, then we get a larger treat. That's not really how it's all supposed to work. But it's the mess that our current administration has gotten us into. So we're all the way up to a doji now. So quite a strong bounce off that area. But we still got a ways to go before the market closes, so we'll see where we're at this time tomorrow. To become a member, to be in the members only workshop tonight, go to mytradingiq.com or just check your email. You've gotten an email or two if you've been on the trial, how to become a member. Can't find the email, call us at 949-42-EMINI or send an email to support@cfrn.net. Once you become a passport holder, you'll have access to the live training room 2 hours every trading day. Every trading day. 2 hours. It's an interactive environment. That means you're trading along, learning the strategy in your demo account till you qualify to go live, asking every question that pops into your head. And with a new simplified model, you're going to run out of questions pretty quick. But along with the group training every day for 2 hours, trading can be a lonely business. It's nice to have a place to hang out with like-minded traders. Not the angry, grumpy, bitter, backstabbing crowd that you find in all these other chat rooms. But in our room, it's a family-friendly environment. Ask those who cross the line. Now, you also get private one-on-one mentoring. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETF, doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. As a passport holder, you get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. You get the concierge trade alerts every night when they're published. You get the weekly trading zones every Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. And you're able to attend the members only workshop every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. So members, one more time, please have your questions ready. Okay. All right. Good word for the day. The last 4 days, we've been talking about when God sends you an angel. Today, a prayer for financial contentment. 1 Timothy 6:6. Yet true godliness with contentment is itself great wealth. The Bible says, yet true godliness with contentment is itself great wealth. After all, we brought nothing with us when we came into the world, and we can't take anything with us when we leave. So if we have enough food and clothing, let us be content. But people who long to be rich fall into temptation and are trapped by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. That's probably the most misquoted scripture in the whole Bible. You hear it all the time. Oh, money is the root of all evil. No. That's not what it says. It says the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And some people craving money have wandered from the true faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows. 1 Timothy 6-10. Here's a prayer for financial contentment. Lord, heal me from the stress of worrying about my perception among my peers. Give me the gift of satisfaction with what you want me to have. Thank you for teaching me to walk beside you, not in front of you. I repent of the times I got ahead of you. I also regret the times you were trying to bless me and I was somewhere behind you, grappling with old issues. From this day forward, I will walk with you in peace and prosperity, knowing who I am and whose I am. I'm preparing to be blessed with the practical steps I'm learning, but my focus is on you and my relationship with you. Your word says when I put you first, other things will happen as I prepare myself for what you have for me. Thank you for maturity coming to me spiritually, financially, and emotionally. My family will be blessed by what you're teaching me. Amen. That's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell. Bell. Got a broke bell. Fix the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.